Ladies and gentlemen, it's good to be here with you today. We're gathered for a simple reason, to talk about something that touches every one of us at some point in our journey through life. The topic is this: feeling lost. God cares about you. Now, I've traveled this country and others, speaking to all kinds of people, from farmers in Idaho, where I grew up, to executives in big cities, and I've learned one thing: no matter who you are, there come seasons when the road ahead seems foggy, when the path disappears, and you wonder if anyone upstairs is paying attention. You feel lost, like a ship without a rudder in the middle of a vast ocean. But here's the good news I've discovered through my own ups and downs, through studying the ancient wisdom and the lives of those who've gone before us. You are not forgotten. God cares about you more than you can imagine. Let me share a little story from my early days. I was 25 years old, broke, confused, and wondering what my life was all about. I felt lost, ladies and gentlemen, truly lost. But then I met a mentor who opened my eyes to the power of personal philosophy, and along the way, I came to understand something profound about faith. God doesn't leave us drifting. He has a design, a purpose, even in the seasons of winter when everything seems barren. Today, I want to share with you 4 key ideas, 4 fundamental truths that can pull you out of that feeling of being lost and remind you of God's profound care for your life. Keynote number 1, everyone experiences seasons of feeling lost. It's part of the human journey and the cycle of life. Keynote number 2, God notices every detail of your life, even when you feel invisible. Keynote number 3, faith is the bridge that turns feeling lost into finding your true direction. Keynote number 4, acting on God's care through personal development changes everything. And we'll start right there with the first one. Keynote number 1. Let me tell you something I've learned over the years. Life is designed in seasons, just like the earth itself. There's spring, when everything bursts forth with promise and new growth. There's summer, full of warmth and activity. Autumn brings the harvest, the rewards of what we've planted. And then comes winter, cold, stark, sometimes seemingly endless. It's in those winter seasons that most of us feel lost. The leaves have fallen, the ground is hard, and it looks like nothing is happening. But here's the key: winter is not the end. It's preparation for the next spring. I remember when I was a young man working on a farm in Idaho. Winters there could be brutal. Snow piling up, days short and dark, everything dormant. You'd walk the fields and think, is anything alive under all this? But come spring, the seeds that had been buried, seemingly forgotten, would push through the soil stronger than ever. That's how life works, ladies and gentlemen. Feeling lost is your winter season. It's not a mistake, it's not a punishment. It's the time when the roots go deeper, when character is built, when you're being prepared for something greater. Think about the great stories in the Bible, those ancient books full of wisdom that have guided humanity for thousands of years. Take Joseph, sold into slavery by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, then a prison. For years he must have felt utterly lost, abandoned, wondering if God had turned away. But God was watching every step, caring deeply, weaving a plan that would one day save nations. Or David, hiding in caves, pursued by enemies, writing those psalms that cry out, "Why have you forsaken me?" Yet God called him a man after his own heart. These weren't men who never felt lost. They were men who felt lost deeply, but trusted that God cared enough to bring them through. In my own life, that broke period at 25 was my winter. I had dreams, but no direction. I had energy, but it was scattered. I felt like I was wandering in a desert with no map. But looking back, I see now that God was caring for me even then, allowing the discomfort to drive me toward change, toward seeking wisdom, toward finding a mentor who would show me how to plant better seeds. Feeling lost wasn't the problem. It was the signal that it was time to grow roots. You see, if life were always spring and summer, we'd never develop depth. We'd stay shallow, like plants with roots near the surface, easy to uproot at the first storm. But when you feel lost, when the nights are long and the answers dawn and come quickly, that's when your faith has a chance to deepen. God uses those times because He cares about your whole person. Not just the easy parts, but the strong, resilient parts He's building in you. Consider the eagle. I've always loved the story of how eagles handle storms. When a storm comes, other birds hide, but the eagle flies straight into it, using the wind to rise higher. Feeling lost is your storm, but God has equipped you, like that eagle, to rise above it. He cares enough not to leave you grounded forever. Now, some people fight against these seasons. They get bitter in winter, complaining about the cold instead of preparing for spring. They say, "Why is this happening to me?" But the wise ones understand this is how growth happens. This is how God refines us. He cares too much to let us stay comfortable and shallow. I've met thousands of people in my seminars who came feeling lost in their careers, lost in relationships, lost in purpose. And almost without exception, those who embraced the season as part of the cycle came out stronger. They started reading books that fed their minds. They journaled their thoughts to gain clarity. They sought counsel from wiser people. They turned to prayer and scripture for guidance. And slowly the fog lifted. One man I remember shared how he lost his job after 20 years, devastated, directionless, feeling like his identity was stripped away. That winter lasted months, but in that time he rediscovered his faith, realizing God cared about him not for what he did, but for who he was. He started studying, developing new skills, and within a year, he built a business that gave him more freedom than his old job ever could. He told me later, that feeling of being lost was the best thing that ever happened to me. It forced me to find what God really had for me. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're in that place right now, feeling lost, don't despair. It's universal. Even the greatest lives have these chapters. Abraham wandered for years before the promise came. Moses spent 40 years in the desert before leading a nation. Jesus himself spent 40 days in the wilderness, tempted and alone. Feeling lost doesn't mean God has stopped caring. It means He's caring enough to prepare you for what's next. The key is what you do in the winter. Do you curse the cold, or do you gather wood for the fire? Do you huddle in fear, or do you dig deeper roots? God is there in the quiet, in the stillness, speaking if we'll listen. He's the one who designed the seasons, and He knows exactly how long each one needs to be. Think about a tree in winter. From the outside, it looks dead, branches bare, no fruit, no leaves, but inside, the sap is moving, strengthening the trunk, preparing for explosion in spring. That's you when you feel lost. God is moving things inside you that you can't see yet. He's strengthening your faith, your resolve, your wisdom. I used to wonder why God allows these times. Why not make it all easy? But now I know easy doesn't produce excellence. Comfort doesn't build character. God cares about your eternal value, not just your temporary comfort. He wants you to become someone who can handle the harvest when it comes. So if you're feeling lost today, embrace it as a season. Start planting seeds even in the frozen ground. Seeds of knowledge, seeds of discipline, seeds of prayer. Read the good books. Associate with people who lift you up. Keep a journal of your thoughts and dreams. Exercise your body and your mind. And most importantly, remind yourself daily this is temporary. Spring is coming. Because here's the truth, no winter lasts forever. The earth turns, the sun returns, and new life bursts forth. Your life is the same. God cares enough to walk you through the valley to get you to the mountaintop. I've seen it time and again. People who were once so lost they couldn't see tomorrow now stand tall, sharing their stories, helping others. That can be you. Feeling lost is not a flaw, it's a feature of the human experience, designed by a God who cares deeply about every step you take. He numbers the hairs on your head, knows your thoughts from afar, collects your tears in a bottle. You are not adrift. You are in His hands. And when you understand that this season of feeling lost is universal, necessary, and temporary, something powerful happens, hope rises. You stop fighting the season and start working with it. You become like the farmer who trusts the cycle, who plants in faith, knowing harvest comes. That's the foundation. Everyone goes through it, but not everyone comes through it the same way. It depends on what you believe about the one who oversees the seasons. There was a time in my life when I resisted winter fiercely. I wanted constant summer, easy days, quick wins, but resisting only prolonged the cold. When I finally surrendered, saying, "Okay, God, teach me what I need to learn here," everything changed. The lessons came faster. The growth accelerated. Perhaps that's where some of you are, resisting the feeling of being lost, trying to force your way out instead of letting God work in it. Let me encourage you, stop resisting. Lean in. Ask, what am I supposed to learn? How am I supposed to grow? Because God doesn't waste a single season. He uses everyone to shape you into the person He designed you to be. Think of the caterpillar in the cocoon. To us it looks lost, trapped, inactive, dissolving almost. But inside, transformation is happening. Wings are forming. Soon, it will emerge as something beautiful and free. Your feeling lost is your cocoon time. God is transforming you. I've studied philosophy from all over the world, but the deepest truths come back to this. Life has rhythms, seasons, cycles, and the master designer cares about you through every one. So acknowledge it. Yes, I'm in winter right now. Yes, I feel lost, but no, it's not permanent. And yes, God is right here, caring, guiding, preparing. This understanding alone can shift everything. It turns despair into anticipation. It turns confusion into curiosity. It turns why me into what now, Lord? And that's where real change begins. People often ask me, Jim, how did you go from broke and confused to building a life of purpose and impact? My answer is simple. I accepted the seasons. I stopped wishing away winter and started working in it. You can do the same. When you feel lost, remember the farmer who walks his fields in winter, planning for spring. He doesn't panic at the bare ground. He trusts the process. Trust the process God has for you. He cares. He really does. One more thought, feeling lost often comes right before the biggest breakthroughs. It's the dark before the dawn, the silence before the song, the struggle before the strength. Hold on, keep going, plant anyway. Because on the other side of this season is a version of you that's wiser, stronger, more faithful, and closer to God than ever before. That's the promise of understanding the seasons. And it's available to everyone in this room. Word count, approximately 2,000. Keynote number 2, God notices every detail of your life, even when you feel invisible. Keynote number 3, faith is the bridge that turns feeling lost into finding your true direction. Keynote number 4, acting on God's care through personal development changes everything.